Hello, my Berry Aftercare friends. I don't know if you're joining me online today or if you are listening to the podcast. Either way, I welcome you. And I'm going to tell you, we have a special guest today. And as you may or may not know, this is only the second time that there's been another person on the podcast or on the streaming with me. So I'm super excited about this. And you're going to love it too, because this may be a piece of your puzzle that has been missing for you in your journey toward weight loss surgery or in your journey afterward. What I'm talking about is a health coach. And I think health coaching is a wonderful addition to whatever you're doing, regardless of where you are in this journey. And we're going to talk about why. And you're going to meet Erin, who is an Atlanta based health coach. She is able to do health coaching regardless of where you live, actually, because we have this wonderful thing called Zoom these days and all kinds of other online portals that people can meet on. So I want you, and I have not been real aware of health coaching until the last couple of years. And, I love what I do. I'm a psychologist, but not everybody needs to dig as deep as I want to dig with you. Sometimes we need somebody to help us in a less psychological way, but help us to stay on track with our goals, etc. But I'm not going to try to tell you what a health coach is. I'm going to bring Erin on, and I would really encourage you to share this podcast or this video with somebody who you go, who might benefit from this. In addition to myself, I think so and so would benefit. So I'm going to see if I can have Erin join us right here on screen. And there she is. Hi, Erin. How are you today?
Hey, I'm well, Dr. Stapleton. How are you?
Good. I love it. This works great. This is so exciting for me because truly you're the second guest I've had on my podcast or on Berry Aftercare at all. So it's really exciting.
It's
And I can't
exciting for me.
good. I'm excited to hear what you have to share because I really believe that you can bring a piece to the recovery process. And when I say recovery, I mean diseases. We recover from disease, right? Chronic illnesses, especially like obesity, don't go away. They can be put into remission, but this is a chronic disease, not something to take lightly, not something to think that weight loss surgery is going to it's a one and done, it's all over. You don't have to worry about how you live or work or following through with it. As any of you who know people who've had the surgery, or depending on how far out you are already, this requires a lot of effort. So, Erin herself is a bariatric patient who, for years now, has been following the guidelines she was given. So, without any further ado, Erin, just introduce yourself a little bit. Tell us what you want us to know about you in
Sure.
addition to your health coaching.
Fantastic. Would love to. Thank you again, Dr. Stapleton, for the invitation. And I'm super excited to only be the second of, I'm sure, very, very many guest stars and guest appearances on your podcast and your videos. So thanks for having me. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. Again, my name is Erin Garrett, and I live in the metro Atlanta area. I have two boys. They're 12 and 14, so I'm pretty much at the grocery store every day. Um, I also, in my home is my husband of 22 years. And the interesting part of that relationship is that my husband, 10 years ago, was diagnosed with ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. It's tragic. It's a horrible disease. It robs you of your motor neurons, and so he can't move. We're really, really grateful that he's been with us for as long as he has. But when that diagnosis came, it hit me very hard personally that I had to be in better shape. I was heavy my whole life, up and down, dieting, yo-yos, the whole nine yards. I was at the time over 300 pounds and extremely out of shape and not well. And I kind of realized at that moment that I had no choice but to get into shape and to be much healthier because my husband wasn't going to be around forever. So I did make that commitment. I went ahead with the surgery and I really did stick with the plan, all the nutrition recommendations and the movement recommendations. I got really, really lucky in that I fell madly in love with exercise. I hope that happens for you too, but if not, it's okay. We can still make lots of progress. So I've become really dedicated to helping others in my similar situation with the recovery, even, preparation, fitness, nutrition, psychology. I have kind of a small slice of each of those things. So health coaching is more to help you determine your own abilities, to help you really tap into your own motivations and what makes you tick. So that's what the coaching guidelines are about.
So
Um,
coaching isn't like, okay, I want you to do this, 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 and this.
Not at all. Nope, not at all. In fact, the taskmaster part of my role is very small. The main goal is to focus. So let me give you, for example, when surgery is over, the very intense focus is put on getting your protein in. So you absolutely have to do that. You have to drink your water, all those good things. So after the first few months, and you're doing doing what you're supposed to, everything's going well, you start to have a different perspective sometimes. Maybe a family member or a friend will um, inadvertently say the wrong thing, maybe not be as supportive as they used to be, what have you. So it is about your whole perception of your life, of your being in life, is potentially a little bit off kilter. So what the health coaching role is for encouragement, of course, support, accountability. So you really do have to be doing your part. So we're there to kind of keep you on track that way. But really, we talk to you in your lifestyle terms. How can we make a very big lifestyle change a little bit at a time? So you've done a massively wonderful thing for yourself by getting surgery. How do we make sure that it wasn't all for naught and that you're going to be successful? So really, the health coach's main role is to guide you to your own strengths and make your own self-reliable, your self-efficacy as high as it can be, because then you have the confidence to succeed, and then you are more apt to stick with the rules.
So if I call you and I'm the person who just had weight loss surgery and I'm saying, wow, you know, I knew going in that I had to drink the water and get the protein but I'm really finding it hard. I'm finding it hard to get all this protein in. How can you help me?
Right, that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up. So, one, specifically the health coach role is 1000% not a nutritionist. In fact, we absolutely want post-op patients relying on their physician's recommendations when it comes to any kind of nutritional intake. I mean, especially the first 3+ months, you really are 1000%. I will be coaching you under the parameters of what your physician is prescribing for nutrition or
Mm.
what have you. So,
So you might ask me like how many grams of protein you're supposed to get,
right.
and I'll
And
say 80, and I say, but I'm having a hard time getting that.
sure, sure, absolutely. So I think we can rely then a little bit on my experience with having gone through that same process. I absolutely can talk to you about ideas and ways to sneak protein in. So make sure that the client patient is aware of very protein dense foods that don't take up a lot of room.
Mm,
So it is absolutely hard to get in, and then you're worried about water as well. And when you can put this much of it in your body at a time, it can be a challenge. So that's
mhm.
absolutely one of the typical hurdles and requests for need is how do I even get all this in the beginning?
Cool. So you kind of share your experience and what other people have shared with you in terms of ideas and see how
Definitely.
that flies with the person.
Yeah, I like to stay real connected to the bariatric community, if you will, because
Mhm.
so many other people, of course, everyone's experience is different. So mine is not going to be a blueprint for how someone else will go.
Mm,
But it is really, really good to have both the community support and feedback and the ideas, right? So
yeah.
so definitely encourage lots of kind of open idea sharing and suggestions for tips and things like that.
Which is a really great thing because if you're making part of your work staying in touch with the bariatric community, then you're getting all kinds of great ideas that you can share. And
Yep.
surely some of those are going to resonate with each individual. Some may not,
Exactly.
but some will, right? So helping them find what works for them.
Absolutely. And that's also another excellent point is that's the beauty of a health coach is like you said, there are certainly plenty of folks that are going to kind of dig into themselves and if they're needing it and counseling is appropriate, that's going to get them to the next level because there probably are some underlying issues. I mean, certainly this is your area of expertise. But as a coach, then you are still able to provide the I guess the environment in which to identify kind of maybe where your weakness spots are, or when if you go to grab chips at 3 on a Friday, let's try to
Mhm.
mitigate that with some other strategies, some preparation strategies, some alternate food strategies. So that's kind of where we keep not trying to tell you what to do and all that, but you have your the gotta do ums, and there's gotta do
Mhm.
ums. So that's one of the other
Right.
reasons I'm here is to make sure that you're doing your gotta do ums.
Oh, that's a great idea. So you kinda help people with ideas for staying on track to do the
Absolutely.
things that you gotta do if you wanna keep that weight off. That's beautiful. And so
Absolutely.
I'm also guessing that having a health coach is a really nice middle ground from having a therapist because, I mean, some people love therapy, some people are like, "No way, I'm not
Yep.
doing that."
Right.
So
Absolutely. I think that's sort of kind of how I visualize health coaching in the entire process, the full medical team, and we all work really together in conjunction together to help mind, body, and soul, of course. So I agree, it's a really good interim place for some folks to be that aren't in the need of deep counseling. I do have a background in psychology. I have my bachelor's degree in psychology, so I also find that I'm a very intuitive person. So
mhm.
I really get a lot of value in making bonds with individuals and really getting to know people and share energies with.
Oh, that's gotta come in really handy. I mean, and my interactions with you are that you are very intuitive and very easy to talk to and very inviting and certainly not gonna tell somebody, "Well, you must do this,"
Right.
you know? It's
Yeah.
just a you serve a purpose of a mentor plus, like
Right.
somebody who's there for you and gonna kinda put your arm around them, but not do it for them.
Absolutely. Yep. 100%. The support is there, but the action is and the effort is 1000%. The responsibility of you, the post-op patient.
Absolutely. And the other thing
Mhm.
that I really like hearing you talk about is you're not telling them how many grams of protein. You're going to find out what does your doctor say? What does your dietitian say? And let
Yes.
me, because one of the things that I have found in approaching various programs, even to use bariatric care, some of them are, I don't want the dietitian portion because we're very particular
Right.
about our so as a therapist or as a health coach, I have to stay in my own lane, and I
100.
have gotten my hands slapped a time or 2, rightfully so, because
Yeah.
I am not a dietitian, I am
Right.
not a PA, I am not an exercise physiologist. So, I've been reminded sometimes by
Understood.
dietitians, you know, "Stay in your own lane there, Connie."
Yeah. Well, and what's funny about that notion is that the lane itself is so everything is a little muddy in that you overlap dietitian with psychologist, with exercise professional. So actually, the way I like to kind of describe health coaching is it's those three pillars: the movement, the nutrition, and the sort of mental and emotional health aspect of it. Like just a tiny slice of all of those.
Right,
So I'm not absolutely not. Would not be in scope to design a nutrition plan for you or
right.
say here's what you should be eating for the next week. But I'm certified within the American Dietary Association guidelines, and myplate.gov is a great place, and it just kind of I can coach to establish federal guidelines, and sometimes it's just having someone else to kind of guide you through all that information that's really very helpful.
And I'm guessing too that a great role that you might serve for people is, well, I'm afraid to talk to my dietitian about this, or I don't know what to say. And so you
Right.
could help them formulate, how do I approach people, or how do I, have the courage to, or I'm really struggling with, I don't want to go back to the doctor's office because I'm afraid I'll be embarrassed. You
Sure.
know,
Sure, 100%. And that again, again, the best part of the health coaching is constant reassurance that that you are, when you have a self-doubt, you are capable, and this day was maybe bad and maybe this meal was bad, but this consistency and keep up with it and roll with the punches and get back on the horse if you fall off kind of thing. That's
right.
the accountability piece, and that's the regular communications with a health coach can keep you from really only focusing on one thing. So I just have to get these proteins in. That's all I'm really thinking about. Well, at some point in time, it's going to be time to get off, to get up and move a little. Let's talk about what that looks like. And then, the other, all the other kind of gotta doums and all that. But it's really about embracing the client's person and relating to them as their person and not as like just grams of protein or an exercise routine.
And how wonderful. I really think it's such a vital role. And having somebody is there, is going to encourage you, is going to help you establish goals, I'm guessing. Is that something that you do?
Absolutely. Um,
Okay.
sure, if I could just go into a real quick,
Yes, please.
rundown of, like, what it entails. If you were
Sure.
to think, "Oh, health coaching is great for me. What do I do?" We'll
Yes,
provide
please.
contact information. We're gonna link to Dr. Stapleton's website. The first thing we would do is have a full, at least 1 hour, intake call is what I call it, intake call.
Ah,
So,
okay.
that's the point where we review, kind of your past maybe food history and what your why are you here? What is your why for bariatric surgery? What is it that's
Yeah.
motivating you to make this incredibly brave but really, really great decision? We will go through uh, plans for how frequently you want to have help. I have packages that go from, you only talk to me like a couple times a month to fully immersive. I will come to you, I will work out with you, I will check out your form to make sure you're doing things okay. The biggest piece for me is fitness. The fitness piece is where I've found that I've fallen madly in love with, but I completely understand what it feels like to start working out from nowhere. And when you are probably at this point still very heavy and uncomfortable, maybe ashamed, maybe embarrassed, maybe I'm afraid I don't know how to use the machines at the Lifetime Fitness. This is all intimidation factor that we need to just get right out of your way, because it's hard enough to get started doing something without being afraid to just take a leap. And I will walk you right into whatever kind of environment you're comfortable with, and I will help you feel comfortable so that you will get some benefit and happiness out of your exercises.
That's so cool. So, from what I know, as we've talked before, you will literally walk into the building with people.
Absolutely, absolutely. If you have a gym membership and you're going to get one and you're afraid, any of it makes you intimidated or afraid, I will 1000%. Of course, if you're in the Metro Atlanta area, I will literally walk into the gym with you.
Right.
I will introduce
Right.
you to the machines. And of course, remotely, you can always ask me questions about exercise. It's a little bit easier to show in person. But if I may also, I'm currently in the process of getting certified for group fitness instruction. So I will be at some point soon, probably, hopefully by the end of May, be able to offer full small group classes, maybe 4 to 5 at the most, 3 to 5 people, in an environment that is safe from workout Barbie and is safe from musclehead, in an environment where you are working with like souls and like people, and people who kind of know what it's like to be afraid to get started or what have you. So I'm absolutely there to support. Let's break the seal off of that and get you going, and then we'll determine what makes you feel good, what makes you happy, and work from there.
So much of what you're saying is, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but this is so critical because, you know, all of the areas, the nutrition, the psychology, the goal setting, the gotta do 'ems, and thank you for bringing that in. And But the exercise is an area where people are really hesitant because A, they've maybe never done it,
Right.
B, they hate it, C, they don't have time for it. You
All
have
of
been
those
there.
things.
You
Right.
have been there with all of those things, and
Yep.
knowing that you started from square one with that at some point in time
Yep.
is got to be such a relief for people. There's gonna be no judgment.
None.
There's gonna be no expectation. There's
No.
gonna be only encouragement
Yes.
and, whatever level of guidance you want, and I'm so happy to hear that you are getting your, what's it called? How are
A
you
group
referring to it?
group fitness instructor, so I'll be able to
Yes.
lead small groups and design the workout, which I can design specifically for folks who are maybe real heavy and haven't been working out much. Because you
That is
need
so
that kind
cool.
of specificity. You can't just start, at a boot camp with people yelling at you.
I
Or just
know,
ease
and
into that.
I find that very, very intimidating,
Yep.
right? You know, I exercise regularly, but I want somebody who's gonna work with me where I'm starting. I
Mhm.
can't go into a high intensity interval training and do that high
Yep.
intensity exercise.
Mhm.
I'm in my 60s. I don't have a lot of good lung capacity. I don't, you know?
It's not for
So
everyone. Right.
right. So finding what works for somebody and you helping them where they're at. I love that.
Yep.
And this, my friends, these are just some of the reasons that I am so excited that Aaron and I are going to be working closely together because I believe that a lot of people do need therapy. Not everybody does.
For sure.
So you might need a bariatric coach, somebody who specifically works in bariatric health coaching. I know, Aaron, you do more than just bariatrics, but this is your love, right?
Well, this is my heart and my passion. Yes, absolutely. In the middle of the first wave of the pandemic, so June of 2020, I had been in corporate America for 20 years. I was sales, IBM, Motorola, the whole 9 yards, and I got so overwhelmed with this passion to share my experience and help other people because I know what you're going through and I know you can do it. I absolutely know you can, but all of the preparation and the practice and the effort is just there, for me to guide you through all of that. I'm excited about it. I really am.
That's commitment, that's passion. I mean, you gave
For sure.
up a big job with a big salary, I'm sure,
It
for a
was hard to
passion and a
do.
love.
Sure, absolutely. But my days I'm self-fulfillment because I'm so happy with what I'm doing. And so, you know, anybody that I can help meet their own potential and improve their lifestyle and be healthier, I'm all for it.
Without a doubt, and I know that a lot of people really like having somebody who's been down the road, so the
Sure.
fact that you have been down the road gives you a lot of, um, what's that word? Gives you a lot of
Credibility?
that's the word, thank you.
Sure.
I'm older than you, my words don't come to mind so quickly, but
Sometimes it takes an extra second.
that's very cool, and I love what it sounds like the process, so,
Mhm.
as we get going, maybe you can, start together some, um, exercise groups in
Sure.
person and online?
Absolutely. Yep, that's the ultimate goal is to offer some, um, Zoom and online classes in addition to, once I
Ooh,
build a really good curriculum for my target audience, I would
right,
just be happy to share that, guided or self-paced or, so many options
right,
now with all the technology. It's pretty exciting.
exactly. So, basically, people just need to say, "This is what I'm looking for, can you help me with this?"
Pretty much. Yep.
That's
Um,
really, really nice.
I'm not sure if I spoke to it before, but I think I wanted to just mention, I did mention it briefly, but just as far as the how to join and how to get started, you
Yeah,
contact
yeah,
me, we
yeah.
do your intake, and then we determine what plan is good for you. So I have multiple kind of tiers of plans. Some of it is just Zoom calls for a few months. I like to offer as much high touch as I can because I'm so passionate and I'm here. So anyone in the local area, I have other tiered packages that include more one-on-one or more. I mean, I would love to take you to the grocery store.
Yeah,
We get so in the habit of going down every aisle that we know forever. And once you have surgery and now you have this entirely new requirement for food, you maybe aren't all that familiar with the organic aisle or the vegetable, what have you. All of that stuff is things that interest me that I would be happy to help with and join along.
For sure. So before we get to how to contact you, you and I talked before about those individualized things that you can do with people in the area, like go to the grocery store with them, literally walk them into if they
Hmm.
want to go to a gym, or, if you want to go to their home and work out with them, or however that works out. But even
Hmm.
if people live far away, you can do the grocery store thing with them with FaceTime.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I don't know that
I mean,
my
that's
brain has
so
fully
great.
leveraged all of the options for that, but
Oh, absolutely, I mean, I love that, what you got a coach in your pocket. Heck, if you do just wear your earbuds and be talking to Erin while you're doing
that's
this
an
stuff and
excellent
go, "Okay, now what do you think I should do?"
That's an excellent idea. It's an excellent idea.
Mhm.
I also offer what's called a pantry clean out or
Oh,
pantry
yeah.
reset, things like that. And this is even certainly if you're preparing for surgery, you don't have to wait till you're finished with surgery to call me because I can help you with things like you know, um, simple tricks like if you have kids in the house and you know you're going to have foods that you are tempted by but don't want, maybe put them in a different section of the house, and the children are asked to refrain from eating the cookies and the ice cream after dinner until like you've had time to maybe go for your walk or something. Just there's so many
Yeah,
wonderful creative ideas to help battle your hurdles and your challenges because they'll come. But
and
that's what you have me
yeah,
for.
there's so many great pieces to that too because I did a whole video on preparing your not preparing your environment, but taking charge of your environment.
Right.
Because
Hmm.
there's so many things in the food world that we don't have control over, any charge over. You drive down the street, it's fast food everywhere. You turn on your radio, it's food commercials. It's so prevalent everywhere and it's hard to get away from those triggers. But you have the ability to keep your environment, which is your home, your
Hmm.
desk drawer, your
Correct.
bedroom, your car, a very, very safe place for you, or as safe as is possible. And if you're
Right.
struggling with that, then Erin can for sure, help you. And another great thing about that is being able to call you back and say, I can't believe this, but I just did this. And
Right.
having somebody to celebrate with you and
Oh, for sure.
recognize that the celebration is critical.
1,000%. I love to encourage and cheer people on, like, that just the cheerleading is my favorite part of this whole gig. I also lost my train of thought there for a second, but I do, yes, absolutely. I'm here, you call me, you're in a tough spot, you whatever it is, or you're proud, you did something that you didn't think you could do on your own. That is just it's worth all the tea in China.
And, if somebody's in therapy with me, like we're doing the deep work, having a coach in addition is so great because I'm gonna go deep. I'm like, "You need to do, the, accountability stuff on a more regular basis," so Aaron and I can work very, very closely together in terms of, you
Yeah.
know, making this and the other thing I wanted to focus on, and you've mentioned it too, Aaron, is that pre-surgery is so important. If people start behaving as if they're a post-op before
Yes.
surgery, they're gonna be much more prepared after surgery. It's not gonna be such a shock, and you've mentioned in our discussions that this is a tool, that honeymoon period, and that ends.
Yep. I loved your analogy and your mind prep videos of the surgery itself being almost like the wedding. So it's tons of preparation and tons of planning and focused and logistics and things running everywhere, and then you have this big event, and it's really great for the first little bit. Your weight's just piling off, and your honeymoon is great, and everything's wonderful. Then you get back to kind of home and the real relationship, which is in the analogy, which is now your new lifestyle. So how do you to go from preparing for something and then having that event be over, but you still have to keep up with all of the hard work, like the talking to one another and open communication, that kind of thing. So that is the primary focus for the post-op patient, the pre-op patient. 1000%. Let's get you prepared. We can already start talking about some tiny habits, some little things that you can just make a tiny change. And within the matter of a few weeks, it's a new habit for you.
That's right.
So we get to focus on as many positive and new, and it's refreshing and it can be fun.
Right.
So, it's you're just out there doing what's best for you and your family and your lifestyle and your health, and it's fantastic.
And those tiny habits that you're talking about, there's some really great books, one called Tiny Habits, one
Yeah,
called Atomic Habits.
yep.
Those are really great. And those things
Mhm.
are sustainable, and you can't
Exactly.
do all of this at once. So having a coach, and I can think of so many other ways for us to work together. I do the Gain While You Lose class, which is
Mhm.
that class that I love so, so, so much. It's like the thing I love the most in the work that I do,
Yeah.
which is this online 10-week class where we kind of go deep, but there's
Right,
not a lot of we're discussing, there's not a lot of back and forth. It's a class.
right.
So having you to say, okay, this is my homework for this week. I need some accountability to implement this.
Sure.
So having you kind of to be there with them
Right.
between weeks and between offerings of the class, because once people take Gain While You Lose, they can take it over and over and over and not have to pay again. But there's gaps of
Nice.
time where they need you.
Sure. Well, sure, absolutely. And there's value in self-paced learning, and I think a lot of people really grab onto that and listening to lecture type thing. But exactly like you said, maybe they've got some additional questions or need help with their homework or whatever it is. Great place for a coach. I think that's kind of what makes this so great is that yours and my philosophies are so similar. We know how
Absolutely.
important the mental and emotional and spiritual side of getting healthy is. Everything needs to improve, but the brain most. I mean, the mind is really what gets us where we're going. So I think this is going to be a fantastic help.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it, and it's a piece that you bring a service that will really help the people that I work with. Absolutely, because I can't be as consistent.
Sure.
And my my natural tendency is to take the deep dive, and it's not always about the deep dive, right?
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
hard for me not to dive off the diving board into the deep end. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
I'm
like
just
to then my part is like the dog paddle part. Like I'm keeping you there. I'm here, you guys get to go deep and all that, but I'll just kind of keep you toward the surface, make sure you don't drown.
and I think there are things that people would be so much more comfortable sharing with me. It's like, I'm not ready to go to the deep dive here, but hey.
Yeah, right. Some
Yeah, so that's
high level issues.
and Erin is gonna, be participating, and here's another great way for us to work together is when I do those retreats, and
Very
the
excited.
retreats are so amazing and wonderful, and the camaraderie built in those is so great, but
Mhm.
then people go home,
Right.
and having the follow through consistency with a coach, I think will help them stay with that determination they leave the retreat with. Because if you
I
go
love
back to
that.
being by
Yeah.
yourself, it's kinda, it can be a sharp fall off of a steep cliff. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, I was gonna use the word jarring. I mean, it can be it's almost like, when
mhm,
you have a baby in the hospital and 3 days later they send you home and you're like, "Wow, there's a person here now. What am I supposed to do?" So,
great analogy.
yep. So,
Yeah.
good to have somebody on your side always.
And these groups at these retreats become so bonded to one another that I could
Right.
see them wanting to do a group exercise class with you of some sort on an ongoing
Sure.
basis. So there will be
Yeah.
a lot of great opportunities for us to combine forces and, of course, work with the amazing bariatric programs that we're affiliated with
Absolutely.
and the nutritionist and follow absolutely each program's guidelines because I know that is critical and
Yep.
really important to the program. So we want to honor that. Um,
For sure.
so, gosh, what an exciting collaboration
I think us together as a team, you couldn't be more prepared or thorough or diligent, and, I mean, your chances for success will through the roof because we all know, unfortunately, it doesn't succeed for everyone, but give yourself the best chance. I love it.
for sure. And Yeah, it takes an investment in yourself for sure. And I
Mhm.
like to tell I am referred to in my group therapy groups as Dr. Butt Kicker because if you've worked with me, you know my approach is very fair and very firm.
Yep,
So I'm not much into excuses, and I'm more the bad cop than the good cop in these situations. But people, I know it costs money to go to therapy. I know it costs money to see a health coach. I know it costs money to invest in a gym membership. I know it costs money, but I'll tell you something. And here's part of the reason that I have very low tolerance for excuses like I don't have time or I don't have money. And my husband and I were young, one income, plus I was in school full time, 3 kids,
wow,
made time for therapy. I made time every week, not just for my therapy, group therapy, individual therapy, couples therapy, and we made sure our children were involved in this kids program.
I love it.
Exercised, so nobody can tell me I don't have time and I don't have money because I went very in debt for
Yeah,
that therapy, and it was worth every penny, and the reason I did it was what you were saying, my why, which I refer to as meaningful matters. What
love it.
matters to me most? What is
Mhm.
most meaningful to me? My family, my
Right,
health, my life, my recovery. If I didn't have that and then I didn't invest in learning how to maintain that, I would have
yep.
been back where I started and it wasn't pretty.
That's a super valid point. I mean, you you got you like you said, it's difficult and there are hurdles for sure. What I find cute about you being the bad cop is that if I had to sort of pick which one I would be, I would definitely be the good cop. I'm always gonna
Good.
kind of be gentle and soothy, but, again, you're still required to do your work, but I'll, pet you on the head if you need, it's fine.
Trust me, I'll celebrate with you and I
Yep.
will kick your butt with the biggest hug you've ever had.
I love it. I love it. It's great. It's
All
great.
right. So, Erin, we're going to put all of your contact information not only on my website, but each bariatric care program that subscribes to the whole bariatric care program has their own website. So, it will be on
Great.
those websites as well. And
Fantastic.
for people who participate in bariatric care but are not through a program, they have their own website. So, the
Oh,
information will be on there as well. So, in the
fantastic.
meantime, go ahead and share what you want
Sure.
to share right now as far as contacting you.
Sure. Appreciate that. So, my website is bariatrichealthcoaching.com. And it's all me. It's a little bit of my background, my story, a little bit more detail into kind of how I got where I am now and why I'm doing this and, my whys for wanting to help others. My email is Erin at bariatrichealthcoaching.com. And I
ERIN.
am ERIN, thank you. Sorry. Yes, ERIN at bariatrichealthcoaching.com. And I will have flyers and business cards and all that for whenever I'm, meeting folks in person. But here we are in the virtual world, so we'll leverage that as much as we can. Would love to hear from you. And you don't have to pay to talk to me. Just someone, if you just want a conversation to determine if this is something that's good for you, 1000%. Let's talk first.
Absolutely. And if you have topics that you want either myself or Erin to talk about in bariatric care, because she's going to do some videos for the bariatric care program. So you'll be seeing those more often about coaching topics, about exercise topics. Please let us know what you want us to talk about. Because I'm just going
Absolutely.
to keep blabbing away about what I want to talk about unless you let me know what you want to hear.
Exactly.
So
Yes, bring us your ideas.
yes, for sure. All right. So, Erin, this is very exciting for me. It's a pleasure to be working with you, and I'm very particular about who I work with. So I
I
just am
appreciate it.
thrilled.
I am
Yeah,
super excited about this partnership. I mean, again, as like we've mentioned a couple times, this is absolutely my whole passion. So being able to collaborate with someone and work with someone who's got the same philosophies and really understands kind of where we're coming from, I
yeah.
think we're a formidable team. So I'm super super grateful for this opportunity. Thank you for letting me talk to your folks. And I look forward to hearing from you all. Just give me a holler.
Okay, guys. So I will be back later in the week, even though it's already midweek. This is
Wednesday.
craziest
Too
week.
fast.
Too fast, too fast. But I'll bop in on Friday and we'll talk about all the different kinds of services that are really available to you and
Mhm.
that, you know what, you are worth investing in
No
to,
better investment than in yourself. That is
amen.
1000% for sure.
Amen. All
Very
right.
good.
Till next time. See you
Thank
then.
you. Have a
Bye
great
bye.
day.